Great news to see how Trump is doing the polls. There's been a lot come out in swing states saying, you know, people are fed up with this, what we're living in. I mean, even you saw the unions with New York saying that they're 2-to-1 when it comes to Biden. That's unheard of. So we're making huge inroads into maybe getting Trump elected. I do have a problem though. And not to be negative Nancy, but I do think that we need to be very cautious of something. We're building a great coalition, but it's not a coalition of conservatives. And so where do we stand in it? That's what we're going to talk about today. Let's jump into it. Today's video starts right now.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.
Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay. Let us know what you think about the content of the video. And remember, if you are giving us a thumbs up, you're sharing, you're subscribing, you are entered into a giveaway here. Also, we're doing another giveaway on Twitter. So if you're not subscribed to us on Twitter or follow us on Twitter, check over there. We're putting a lot of news out all the time over there as well. Now, today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about the fact that Trump is getting great news. I mean, even with all the stuff going on, I know that he is losing millions basically trying to work all these trials. And you think about it, just on a side note, this is not what the video is about today. What other time in history with serial murderers, with other trials, look at Weinstein, OJ, when we talk about some of those trials, they had multiple accounts in multiple locations. And in Weinstein, he could not go on trial in one state until the other trial was finished. Well, we have Trump going through like 3 or 4 trials as we speak. So that's a little unheard of, and I think that's why I think people are coalescing and building a coalition around Trump, because they're seeing how much people do not want this guy to leave. And so it's making people think, well, we've had good years with Trump, other than the last. Biden, we've not had one good year, really, of prosperity, and our country is in a threat of war, and a threat of polarization. Our cities are falling to pieces even more than they were. So everybody tends to be leaning towards Trump. Now, here is my biggest problem with that. I would love to see more conservative people in leadership. But now I feel like we're building a coalition to where you're going to see the Tulsi Gabbards, the RFKs, the middle of the road style people that just want a common sense approach. I think of Joe Rogan, Elon Musk. Those are not what we consider conservatives. Now, do I want them to vote for Trump or be on the Republican side? Yes, and I actually love the fact that they're a little bit more anti-establishment. They're more of a populist movement. So we have a big bird, and on this big bird we have Republicans who are establishment, who nobody likes, but somehow they keep getting elected because of all the money. Then we have the conservative, the Christian, the fiscal conservatives, the very extreme like us, who look at it, look hands off, just freedom oriented. Love our God, and we stand for heavy morals and values. I would call that the Christian part, the Christian sect. Then we have this other part now that's moving towards us that are not agreeing with the Republican establishment, leaning towards the conservative part of the party. So they love the freedom movements, they love the libertarianism, but they're not standing on the core values and principles such as marriage and biblical teachings. Not standing on, no abortion. This new group coming in who is helping the conservatives maybe win victories, helping the conservatives to move away from establishment. All the while, I think it's pulling the conservative party and the Republicans more to the center. Not just the establishment who is trying to play between the 40s, but moving the whole movement of conservatism. Let's just be the party that's more real for everybody. It's everybody's party. Well, again, not that I'm against that, but if we build this party to where it accepts everything, then we wash out the message of what true conservatism is. We should not be building a party just to vote against the leftist extreme, and I think that's what we're doing. We're building a party to move away from the pro-Palestinian movements, the trans movement, and all this crazy 50-60% tax. We're trying to move away from that. But instead of trying to move away from that, we should be moving towards something else. And I think that that's where we've lost our messaging, especially as conservatives. We see conservatives not talking about marriage anymore. We see conservatives not talking about the establishment of a true nuclear family. We're not talking about, you know, one man, one woman. We're not talking about no abortion. Those are the things that impacted us forever, because we were part of the Christian part of the conservative party. That was the core values that we had. Well, nobody wants to touch those now, because they're, you know, that's not what the whole party agrees on. So they're more the freedom, liberty. That's all great and all. But if we're just looking to get away from the Bidenomics and the bad policies with the left, then we're actually not standing on true morals and values, is what I'm thinking what the Republicans were really meant to stand on. So what does that mean? I think what that means is you're going to have no leadership in this party for a long time. I think you're going to have Trump pulled both ways. You heard him. He did a great thing with the Roe vs. Wade. Got the leadership in there that changed that over. However, now they're all backing down from that, because now the party is moving more center to where that's not a big issue anymore. Well, it was always a big issue, and it's still a big issue to true conservatives, but it's not a big issue to the party as a whole now. They've left it. Same thing with one man, one woman marriages. You don't see the value of that anymore in the conservative party, especially the liberals, but even in the conservative party anymore, because they've moved away from that. So now our battles are the border wall, or our battles are freedom only, or our battles are 2A, our battles are, protect our children in school. That's great battles to fight. But because we're not really standing on true moral principles, and we're not standing together because we don't really have a true core conviction, what happens is we just lose battle after battle after battle. One thing I like what Vivek said. Vivek said not too long ago, he said, Republicans are very good at losing. And that's true. And I think it's a messaging problem. The one thing about Democrats, they know what they want. They go wholeheartedly for it, and they're going to support it. It doesn't matter if it's loony. It doesn't matter crazy. They move towards it. Just like the capital gains tax and the fact of the pro-Palestinian rallies. It just blows my mind that we even have a political party standing against God and standing for other things. But that's, I think, the problem with the Republicans is now it's gotten such a big umbrella that there's no core principles and core values there. I feel like the conservatives have truly been left out to dry. I think in Washington, we need more anti-establishment candidates. However, all we're getting is either establishment or just the fringe. And the fringe is maybe good. I think of like Thomas Massey. I think of people like Rand Paul. I think they're phenomenal. However, there's not enough of them to make a difference. So we're building this party up. Why are we not building up on local levels, state levels, so then we can actually impact changing? Why are we not building a moral principle back in the conservative party and say, look, we want you here. We want you to support Trump, but this is what we stand for. It feels like we've taken our Republican Party and we just made it more like the world and made it more like the center so it attracts more people. I think this is the fault of the younger Republicans who've said, you know what, we want to make our party more likable. Well, when you make it more likable, what you're trying to do is make it more like the center or like the world, and you're just accepting. Well, we've accepted and changed from our core principles and values of what a true conservative stood for. Go back to the 1990s. The Republicans are basically the 1990s Democrats. And the conservative party, the real diehard conservatives are no longer even in existence. It's just a little small part of the Republican Party now. So you have really a fight between the 80s and 90s Democrats, then your leftist party of the Democrats, the progressives. That's really what it comes down to. We've been more accepting. I think of our churches. Our churches have to stand on principle. If they're not standing on principle, then they're just going to follow like the world and become more like the world. And we've seen that with a lot of churches. There's been a lot of news about churches lately just being more like the world. Well, when we try to be more accepting and more loving and more, out in the world, and we're trying to pull everybody in and just say we love everybody, very seeker friendly, that's actually not a good thing, because we're watering down the message. Well, that's exactly what we've done with the Republican Party. We've watered down the message. Name one time, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, could you imagine a politician getting on stage and cursing? And this is happening on Republican and Democrats. And don't just say it's just Trump. It's not. Biden does it. Even our senators do it. There's a lot of people that will get on stage. Even our congressmen do it. Well, they'll just curse. And I'm like, where is that getting? Where did that come from? No party used to do that, especially the conservative party. But then they'll talk about God 3 minutes later. I struggle with that. I have a problem with that. So I love the fact that Trump is getting good news. I do. I think it's phenomenal that we see swing states moving towards him. We see so many people, we see really the left alienating so many people to where they're coming to us. But that acceptance, we have to be careful, because if we don't have an established core conviction and core values and principles of what we want in the conservative movement, we're just watering it down and becoming just a centrist party. Now, if that's what people want, if they want the Tulsi Gabbards and the RFKs, okay. But remember, Tulsi stands for some liberal things too. RFK wants to take a lot of your 2A rights. He believes in climate emergencies, the same way that sometimes Biden does, and his green initiatives. So you better be careful. I had a wise man tell me one time, he said, you get what you pay for, quit buying cheap stuff. And you know, I'm a cheapskate, so I still buy cheap stuff, but I get what I pay for. Well, we're the same way. We get what we have advertised to get. And so when the Republican Party is saying, please come in, we love you, come in, let us help you. We're the party of you now. You know, you've now become a Republican, you're a conservative. No. What we've done is we've watered down our message. And now I don't know if we can even get our message back. I want Trump to win, I definitely do. I think that he can do more for conservatives over time. I think he's a good step in the right direction. But I'll be honest with you, that comment I just made, that's the one I hate to hear the most from Republicans. A good step in the right direction. It's not all we wanted, but it's a good step in the right direction. That's been the talking point for Republicans for years of just lost. We've got to quit playing to the center. We've got to quit playing to acceptance of people. And we have to start saying, this is our core values and principles. You've seen how bad the other side has done. You've seen the economies falling to pieces. You see our families are falling to pieces. You see our cities are falling to pieces. Instead of us wanting to be more like that and say, well, look, we're just a little bit less than that. You know, they're at 100%, we're at 50% of that. No, we should say, we're a totally different way. Let me show you how we can really serve and really do well. And we can show you how to really lead. And I think that's what conservatives need. And until we have that, I don't know if we even have a true conservative party anymore. I think you have the 80s, 90s Democrats, which are now the Republicans. And, you know, and that's a good thing. There's good parts of that. There's good parts of all these people coming over. But I'm scared that the conservatives and the Christian conservatives, the true staunch Christian conservatives, are the ones left out to dry. And I don't think there's really a party that fits with us for the majority anyway. Now, we'll all vote Republican, but I think we've lost our way. And I hope that way comes back. Guys, let me know your thoughts. This was a little bit different video, and I may have stepped on some toes, so some people may be offended by it, but I just think that we've lost what it truly means to have morals and principles again, values again, and true conservatives. We don't have a lot of those in Washington. We don't have a lot of those in leadership across the whole nation. And so it may start back at our local towns again. It may start back at our local races again. It may start back at our local states again, to where we start building up a true conservative movement. Let me know your thoughts. God bless. Happy homestead, y'all.